we find is that our world has been predominantly designed with the male user in mind. Now, this causes issues. So let's first of all have a look at the male versus female proportions. What you can see here is that men in general tend to be taller than women. A woman's spine tends to be more flexible and is more visibly arched than a man. And in both sexes, the palm of the hand and the sole of the foot are about half as wide as the face, but they're longer relative to the face in men than they are in women. So on the whole, generally men have a different shape to women, and they do tend to be taller and broader and heavier. Okay. Now, when something is designed with a male proportion in mind, this at best can cause discomfort for women, at worst can actually be a safety issue, like we saw with the safety bar in public transport, and this next example of crash test dummies. So crash dummies are used to test the safety of cars. So how, when a car has an impact, a crash, how will the crash test dummy respond? Where will be the impact on its body? Unfortunately, though, crash test dummies are based on an average male, Caucasian male size, which is about 1.77 meters tall and about 76 kilograms, okay, which is significantly taller and heavier than an average woman. Women as well tend to sit differently in the car when they're driving. They sit differently from men. So for example, they'll sit further forward on their seat. They need to reach down to the pedals. They're a bit shorter, so their position is different. They lean forward more. The seatbelt will go across their bodies in a different way. So when the safety of a car is based on tests that are made solely on a male crash test dummy, then it's not actually giving an accurate picture of the global population being, of course, 50% women. In 2011, they did start to test safety of cars using women crash test dummies or female dummies, and actually the safety ratings of cars went down. So a safety rating of a car is how safe a car is if it was to have an impact. But when they started testing it on women, then the ratings went down because, of course, before they had seemed safe, but when they started testing on women, they noticed that actually they weren't as safe as they had previously appeared to be. But it's still not standard to test cars with a female dummy. So these examples, I want you to understand how important it is to have a female perspective. So to have women working in the area of STEM, working as designers, as engineers, in this context, to have a female perspective, anything, the design gender bias can be found in so many products, from astronaut spacesuits to sports equipment to safety vests for police women, for example. These are predominantly designed by men for men. So we need to have women designers, we need to have women working in STEM careers so that they can be the ones designing for women, with women in mind, okay? And that's really the message I want to send to you today. When we look at the gender gap in technology, women represent half of underrepresented in the digital world. The lack of diversity in the tech industry means that key technologies for the future do not fully reflect women's needs. Only those who can help design the digital world can change it and help to reduce the gender gap. So my wish for you is that you develop digital skills and the 4 C's of STEM so that you can be a change maker in the future and ensure that the gender design bias is a thing of the past. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.
Are you not clapping hands for her? It's back to you, Meteboho.
Hi, how are you? I'm here now. I'm no longer in the other classroom as I was earlier on. Sorry, we're struggling with sound this side as well. So the next speaker is Ms. Claire Evans, who's the founder and wait, we've just had that. Sorry, Ms. Letogo Shandu, student at the DUT, Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. I'm not sure if she's on. Is she on?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
You're here. Welcome. Everybody say hi.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll hand it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Letobushe Shandu. I'm currently doing my third year at the Durban University of Technology, majoring in applications development. And today I'll just be here telling you about women in STEM, but my main focus will be technology. So I'll just share my screen. I'm also going to switch off my video, if you guys don't mind. I'm not sure if everyone can see my screen. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay. So I will start off by telling you guys about a little bit about myself. So I am, like I said, a third year in ICT and Applications Development at DUT, and I'm also a beta Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador for the year 2021 and 2022. I am also an IoT and robotics enthusiast, although I do not quite get into that field a lot. I am more of the developer side. So yeah, that's just a little about me. There's not much to tell, but I guess from that we can get to know me a little. Okay, so we will go to the history of women in STEM. So I'm sure if you're doing life sciences, you're familiar with the name Rosalind Franklin. Rosalind Franklin was a woman who really played a big role in the discovery of genetics. Specifically, she unveiled the structure of the DNA. To Ada Lovelace, who was the first ever programmer to execute the first modern computer. And then we have Edith Clarke, who improved the understanding of power transmission and was the first employed. And lastly, we have Katherine Johnson, a mathematician and racial barriers on becoming the first African-American woman to work at NASA as a mathematician, playing a pivotal role in the United States of America's success in the space race. So as we have seen how these women have broken the barriers of new discoveries, and most importantly, breaking the gender barriers along with many other inspiring moments, making it easier for the future generation, which is us, to be included. So we all know that we still have a problem, a very big problem with the gender gap between males and female STEM workers. We are at a better place than we were years ago in terms of discrimination in STEM industries. Women in STEM are empowering us every day in many ways. And one of the various quotes I hold close to my heart is, "Don't let anyone rob you of your imagination, your creativity, or your curiosity. It is your place in the world. It's your life. Go on and do all you can with it and make it the life you want to live." This is a quote by Mae Jemison, who was the first African-American woman astronaut in space. And for those of us who do not know what STEM stands for, it stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. while I'm a girl in STEM, but focusing mostly on T, which is technology. And the truth is, I did not ever see myself pursuing a full-time career in technology. I had planned for study towards getting a degree in radiology so that I can pursue a career as a pastry chef and hopefully there. I know my career choices were a little all over the place, and I have come to that it is okay not knowing what you want to do after high school. There's still time to think about that by taking a gap year, but if you just study towards something that makes you happy and pursuing a career in it, you will never get bored. The how much will I earn aspect of it comes later. And in as much as I enjoy being in tech now, there was so many downfalls that came with the road I took. Not only because I was doing IT, which was something I have never studied all my life, but it was because I had just come out of high school and I had to navigate the world alone. It became more difficult for me because none of my friends from high school went to the same university I went to. So I was really afraid in being in a totally different environment with new faces and a new study career path. But at the same time, I was excited on getting to learn about programming. I first had trouble in the beginning making new friends, and I still do, but there's always room for improvement on that part. Moving on, I just a little backstory. I started to have like all these flashbacks when I was still in the beginning of matric, wishing I was already in varsity, independent, having to not wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, not wearing uniform, not only just attending 2 or 3 classes a day, not having to count down the hours to after school. And to be quite honest, I was starting to regret what I had wished for because I was having what my mentor told me about recently, a feeling called freshman blues, which is basically feeling sad about being away from friends, closest family. And all of this happens because you're away from them for the first time. And the pressure of learning something difficult too. You start feeling frustrated even from the smallest things, like why is the bus coming 20 seconds later than it usually does? Even if this lasts for quite a short while, the freshman blues, here's just a quick tip from me to you. Go home as soon as you can, or call one of your friends and just talk about it. And I also remember at the end of grade 7, when the thought of high school was there is going to be confessing our secret talents and our friends singing back saying we should stick to the stuff we know. But it really is not like that at all. Sometimes we must stop taking things that are unrealistic and putting them into real life, because that's not what we actually go through in life. We should stop implementing these things in our lives. And no one really tells us about the transition of moving from one environment to another and how it can play a negative role on your mental health and the constant need to be around friends. I managed to find that space for me on campus, and that is the club called IoT and Robotics, which I touched on at the beginning. There, I have met several friends and we work on quite a lot of projects. Just last December, our university held the Vodacom Code Like a Girl event where we taught over 300 girls how to code. We all worked together to make it a successful event. And this is just one of the many projects we've done. Just in 2019, we launched 2 labs, Narrowband IoT lab and a 3D printing lab. And we did this just in 1 month. And it was just because we worked together as a team and we were able to do it in that short time. The key takeaway from this is surround yourself with people that want to make a difference. Those are the friends you want to stick around. Remember that the people you surround yourself with will always reflect who you are. So onto my journey as a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, just like I said that I started early this year. And ever since I joined the program, I have learned a lot about how people in the industry operate, how working in a team is, and mostly about myself. We, as Microsoft Learning Students Ambassadors, we are working on a collaborative initiative called Inspire SA that aims to teach both the young and old about emerging technologies in Microsoft, what happens in the industry, and of course, how to code. We have a show specially for women where we invite women in tech industry, how it is being a student in tech, and it is basically just a safe space for women to have a conversation about how their lives have changed because of it. Taught me a lot about the tech, that I am not alone in feeling like I am not good enough to be in the tech world. And this is what is mostly called imposter syndrome. But getting some insight on what to expect and how the work environment is has given me the comfort, and coming to know that it is very common also made me feel much better. In having such experiences, I have found solace in reminding myself that life is a journey. Some roads are bumpy, and the one that I am on right now is the road to self-discovery. Being an ambassador and a student has taught me hard work, dedication, commitment, attentiveness, patience, perseverance, and how to network. That is the most important part. The program has also helped me in getting exposure to a mentor. Her name is Kendra Heavens. After this happened, Kendra agreeing to be my mentor, I remember telling one of my friends of how surprised I was. It was surreal. You really start to realize how humble people in high positions in tech are. I must say that I am glad I reached out to her and asked her to be my mentor for numerous reasons. Firstly, just like me, she also comes from a non-technical background and has only been in tech for less than 10 years. She now works at Microsoft as a senior program manager on the .NET and Visual Studio team. I found out about Kendra initially through a friend who suggested I watch her YouTube tutorials on C#, a programming language mostly used for desktop or website applications. I did the tutorials, and then later at an event we had for the student ambassadors, she was there. She said anyone who needed a mentor can just approach her on Twitter. And so I did. This is also called networking. You have to put yourself out there, and you have to not be afraid of what the answer may be. Because like I said, people in high positions in tech will surprise you. They're actually very humble. I look up to people who selflessly uplift their community, and Kendra is one of those people. Getting a mentor not only means looking up to the person, it also means that you have a safe space to talk about how you're feeling on what is currently happening in your life, how school is affecting you, and the thought of getting into the real world, the real tech world. I always go back to the Zulu saying, Indlela ibuzwa kwabaphambili, which means those who have gone before are the ones who can show the path. And if you can do so, seize it and do not let it go. The MLSA program, which is the Microsoft Learning Students Ambassadors program, is open to anyone between the ages of 16, and thereafter you need to be a student. You must be actively involved in school clubs and be willing to do on-campus work like events. You do not need to be a genius or do computer science, but you do need to be doing a course or subject that is tech related. And there are many benefits that you get from the program. Like I have mentioned above, you get to attend big Microsoft events, and you get to meet awesome people, like when I met my mentor. And I also got a swag kit, which I think you might have seen me wearing my t-shirt. And it also had a Microsoft flask. It had a stress ball, it had a Rubik's Cube, stickers, and an access tag, which I can use to attend any Microsoft event, and a certificate for making it to beta level. If you want to apply to the program, I have the link here. And if you need more information on the program, just feel free to contact me on the handles that I have right there. So let's just go back to this. As you can see that there are different milestones to the Student Ambassadors program. You have your new which is which is the level that everyone goes to when they just enter the program. You have alpha, where you are by hosting, and then you need to report your event. You also have very cool benefits like LinkedIn Learning, free certification exams from Microsoft, Azure subscription, which is like Microsoft you've coded. And then you have the beta level where you receive your swag kit, which has all the things that I've mentioned, like your Microsoft Flask, the t-shirt, the stress ball, the Rubik's Cube, the stickers, of which you can put on maybe your wall or your laptop, and then the access tag, and also the certificate for making it to beta. And then you need to be very, very consistent, and you need to show commitment, and you then advance to gold. But that is a very hard milestone to reach, hoping that I reach it one day. And then you also need to contribute to the community, and you still need to be hosting more events. Then you advance to gold, which is where they recognize you for your high impact achievements. And then you're eligible for Microsoft MVP, where you need to be nominated actually by a panel that sits and discusses your achievements and how and if you're eligible for the MVP mentoring. And then you have a potential nomination as an MVP upon graduation, which means that is your end of the road for the program. So I hope that everyone really enjoyed that, but let us just look at the key points that I must stress on that I've shared with you guys today. Number one is that you need to be consistent in everything you do. Without consistency, everything you do will lack. So you need to be consistent and show commitment. Number two, always be willing to learn, because technology is a forever evolving field. So if you're not a person who's willing to learn and you're willing to always give yourself up, and even on weekends, be willing to just focus on one aspect, then I don't know how you can go about in the tech field. Number three is get a mentor. Even if it's just your teacher, you need someone who you can talk to, someone you can actually stress your then they're willing to listen, then that can be your mentor. It doesn't specifically has to be a person who has to talk to someone and they can give you advice on something and guide you through your path, then she can refer to as your mentor. Number four is to find a specific part of technology that you enjoy doing, because tech is a very broad field. You have IoT and robotics, you have software development, you can be a front-end developer, which is just like dealing with front end stuff, which is your interfaces, how the color looks on the website, or you can be dealing with the back end stuff of software, where you just where you write your code on how the program will function. Number five, please remember that the people you surround yourself with are very contagious. There was one quote that I read that said, "Friends are contagious." And surround yourself with people that will reflect who you want to be to reach your end goal. So just be aware of the people you surround yourself with. You want to surround yourself with people who are actually willing to make a change in their community. Number six, do not be afraid to network and reach out to people. You would be surprised on how much they're open to help. So don't be afraid to just talk to people in who are already in the tech field. Just like I said previously, and if you do not do that, you might lack and slack in some places that you would want to succeed in. Thank you very much, and that is the end of my presentation. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening. I really enjoyed that, and thank you for inviting me to be a speaker.
Thank you very much, Letukuhle. Can we guys clap for her once more? Right. What about, thank you very much. You're so welcome. And then now, our next speaker on the program is Ms. Sophia Crowder, who is the founder of IT Girls HQ and student ambassador at Higher Orbits Foundation. Not sure as to whether we have Ms. Crowder on with us. Ms. Crowder? Mshengu, can you tell us if we have, can you check for us if we have Ms. Crowder?
I'm checking for him on the list. If you just give me a second.
Thank you very much, Bob Matlab.
There you are. I think we've got a connection. It might be network issue, but I think we've got it now.
Okay,
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. If you unmute yourself.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Sophie Crowder, and I'm so honored today to be speaking of you about empowering girls in STEM. So, with permission, I'm just going to share my screen with all of you. So there we go. So girls in STEM, and I tried to make it all cute and all of that. 24% right off the bat, a pretty small number. What do you think this number represents? I'll give you 5 seconds to think of something. 20%, maybe it's a grade you got on a test. Maybe it's 24% of women do this, something like that. So think, what could this number represent? So 24% of women work in the STEM industry. And this goes all the way from computer scientists to rocket scientists, engineers, astronauts, anything that's in the STEM industry. Only 24% of women work in it. And the rest is filled up by men. So there's already a huge gap, and we're working to make it more equal. It has been proven that girls can grasp scientific and mathematical concepts just as well as boys, maybe even better. But the confidence is low because of cultural upbringing. And when you think of this, I don't know if it's the same there, but it's become a stereotype growing up here. And I know I was definitely faced with that stereotype growing up, that girls technically shouldn't be good at science, that girls English more or history, but that's so not true. And science is backing it up and proving it that we can be just as good at science and math. And so if you love science and math, go you. Girls are made to believe that they are inferior in technical and logical abilities, which is definitely not true. We need to inspire and empower each other. And by inspiring and empowering each other and telling each other that, hey, you can do that, you can be good at math, you can be good at science, we're working together to fight that gender gap in the STEM industry. So right here, I have an amazing picture. And this is actually from an event that I did with Microsoft. We brought these laptops to my school. We started off at my school, and as you can see on some of the tables, and we gave them to the girls. We showed them how to take them apart and put them back together and showed them that they can do that. And as you can see, there are so many there, and that was just an amazing experience. They can do it. They can not only hear that they're good at math and science, but actually see it. And so we're working to bring this program to a lot more places. So far, we've done it in the US, and we've also done it in Ireland. And we're working to bringing it all over, because it's really just truly an amazing experience to see these girls believing in themselves and seeing that they can do these crazy things that they thought they could do or were impossible, like taking apart a laptop. And so here I have 6 very cool women. You may recognize some of them, but you know my role models, and I was hoping to share them with you so they can become your role models too. These are women that are already out there paving the path for us, fighting against the norms and the stereotypes. Mae Jemison, an astronaut, Gladys West, she helped with some satellites in space, Marie Curie, Maria DePena. These are all amazing women that have already done so much in history and have really set the bar high for us to keep following after them. So I have here, we should aspire to inspire, empower, change, and represent. We should work together to create an inclusive and diverse future where female input is valued and heard. This can only be achieved when we finally bridge the gender gap, which you've heard me talk about a lot. And these are just some things I've heard from some events like this that I've attended before. Really inspirational women. It's kind of all of the pieces that I've learned and just put together so I can share it with you. But the gender gap is really an issue, and we should all be working together to change the norms. And hopefully in the future there will be. Here, I really wanted to show you guys just how cool it is. You can see them actually taking apart the laptop. And these are things with a smile on their face.